When I began thinking about who could play my mom and dad, a couple people popped into my head quite quickly. One of them was Michelle Williams, because I had been such an admirer of her work. After Blue Valentine came out, I met her for the first time. I asked if I could meet with her. There was something about her that seemed very familiar, and not just because she likes to wear her hair in a short kind of Peter Pan cut the way my mom always wore her hair. I mean, it visually did help me focus in on Michelle as the image of my favorite person in my memory, which is my mom. But that didn't have anything to do with why I cast her. She had a feeling that was familiar to me. It's all I can say.
It still amazes me. I'm still sort of in shock that that phone call happened.
Sammy!
Stephen started telling me about his life and his family, and then I realized a half an hour in that he was asking me to play his mother, and the answer was yes.
I just went with a complete gut feeling that I hope she likes the script, and I sent it to her.
Let's see, what can we do with this? What can we do with a lobster?
We could be putting a hot dog in the lobster's claw.
Oh, that's fun.
Fine, hello. I think it's like a freakishly good performance. So when you're with someone like that, you watch them and you see what they're doing, and my instinct was to just take her lead, honestly.
I loved being her. I loved loving my family through her.
This is the life.
And the way that she lived, the exuberance and the courage that she lived with are things that I don't ever want to part from.
So beautiful what you made, Dolly. You really see me.
Stephen sent me the script, and I thought it was beautiful and really personal and different for Stephen. As a fan of his, I thought at this stage in his career, to see him tackle something like this and give a piece of himself in this way, which he really doesn't have to do. It was a risk that was really worth taking.
Sorry I'm late. I picked up Miss Moynihan's Motorola. There's no room left in the workshop. Where should I put it?
The living room, I guess?
Paul and I came to this as already friends. We've known each other for a really long time. And so we have a friendship, we have a trust, we have open communication, so we have each other's back.
You can't look at any film that Paul Dano appears in and say, well, there's the quintessential Paul, because he has done such a plethora of performances. He loses himself in roles he chooses, and so I was hoping that the same would happen when he got to meet my dad on film and on video.
We dug into Bert Fableman, who's based on Arnold Spielberg. Stephen and I zoomed often to talk about Arnold, his father, talk about Bert as a character, talk about the script, and for me to pick his brain about his dad and then him and Tony's process in turning Arnold into Bert Fableman.
General Electric wants to hire me because of what I did on Bismack. They want to use my electronic library system to I don't think they have any notion what I can do with it, and I'll make more money.
One of the first tapes I listened to of Arnold, he says something like, I'm going to paraphrase now, but electronics was a way of life for me. And so right there, it was like, okay, this guy was an engineer to his core.
So the outside grounds, the middle conducts the power, and these two metal wheels under the engine complete the circuit.
He was a computer engineer. That's like in every fiber of him since he was a kid, building radios and making stuff. So immediately started to sort of get in touch with that part of myself or with that part of him.
And I provided both actors with what I consider to be a treasure trove of personal memories for me, not knowing whether those memories would have any personal connection with either Paul or Michelle. And histories of what my dad did as a computer scientist and what my mom did as a homemaker and a concert pianist.
One of my favorite things to do was to listen to her laugh. It was one of my touchstones that I would use like right before we would shoot. I had so many beautiful home movies of her and like just so much footage that was so dear to me that I just watched over and over and over again of her laughing at different ages in her life.
Not this again.
I was really, really excited when I found out that they were able to really understand them on a subatomic level and prove that to me when they made the movie with me. The hardest part to cast was the part of Sammy, because it forced me to ask myself this question: how well do you really know yourself?
Action.
And the answer came back, well, probably not that well. And so it wasn't easy to find somebody to play myself when I'm still trying to figure out who that myself is. But the one thing I knew about myself consistently in my entire life, I'm curious about so many things, which is why I make so many different kinds of movies and not just the same kind of movie over and over again, because my curiosity throws me into genres that I never imagined I would ever do. And now I'm suddenly doing a genre I've never done before. That's a great one. Okay, we got it. But I looked for several things. I looked for somebody who was really much more handsome than me, and somebody that the girls would probably fall for more than they fell for me. And I cast somebody who had insatiable curiosity. And Gabriel, he's that way. When I started meeting him on Zoom calls, that was the thing that I really connected with him about, was how many questions he asks and how he's open to receive and accept any answer because he's curious. How are you, man? Good to see you. Welcome.
You too. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
You got my shirt from the old days?
I got your shirt. I met with him, and it was terrifying. And it's just him on the screen, and he's like, "Hey, Gabriel, how's it going?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool." I thought it was a very good meeting. Aside from the acting part, we just spoke and got along and talked about all kinds of stuff. So I left there feeling like even if I don't get it, I made a good impression, and I'm happy about that. And then the next day, they said that I got the part.
Oh my God.
Gabriel and I did spend some time together before shooting, and that felt, I think, important to both of us. He's incredibly self-possessed. I mean, I think there's a reason that he's the right man for the job. And I remember talking to Gabe for the first time and thinking, man, if I had that kind of confidence as a teenager, that would have been nice.
All right. Gives me a lot of choices. I love choices. Okay. It's so fucking scary. He was doing his research, not by me giving him videos and films, which he could easily just see on YouTube about myself. He wanted to find out what he could draw from his subject. And so I just answered his question.
I'm right here. Done shooting that. Camera down.
You're looking for something to shoot.
Looking for something to shoot. I see the volleyball game.
And then you see Logan there, and you come right
Then I put the camera up.
Nope, you walk all the way to me first. And he controlled all the phone calls, which I thought was really interesting, because I'm also kind of a control freak. And when I realized that he is one too, I realized at that point, I cast that part well. He's gonna do really good. And maybe get to know me a little bit better than I ever knew myself before.
He was pretty clear that he didn't want it to be mimicking him. The story speaks for itself, so he let me do a lot of it on my own. I mean, there are a few things that I wanted to grab, just of like his posture and his smile and stuff like that.
When you came to meet Steven for the first time, do you remember that day?
It blew my mind.
Excited about playing Sammy?
Yeah.
Good.
I had to go to the school, and I went to wardrobe, and I had to wear 25 million clothes on. And then I went to hair makeup, and they cut it so short. But then they said I would meet the big man, and I met him.
We're all here to support you and have fun with you, and this is fun. Making movies is such a blast. When I make movies, I feel like I'm your age. I completely become your age when I make movies.
I think he was nice.
Thank you. Mateo! Yay! Oh, I love it. I love it.
And I can tell he likes making movies. Come on, Dad.
Sammy, slow with the hand.
Keep coming.
Slow, higher, 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 higher. And stop.
Stop.
Good. One more time.
Yes.
I do this with all my scene partners. This is what all the serious actors do.
Seth is a dramatic actor. I mean, he's made his bones in comedy, but he's a dramatic actor.
Stocking up on Kodak before the big move?
No,
Smart. Film's cheaper here than in California. He told me it was autobiographical, and I was playing a man based on the guy he affectionately called Uncle Bernie, who was funny, lovely, charming, full of life.
And he was my first choice. I went to no one else. If Seth said no, I wouldn't know what to do, because he was also very, very close to the person he was representing, who I knew and loved for so long. And he's not a villain. There are no villains in The Fabelmans.
It was someone who Steven really loved, and that was something that I felt a lot of pressure to make good on.
You think whatever bad things you want about me, kiddo, but you stop making movies, it'll break your mother's heart.
Great day, man.
Hey, thank you so much.
Hey guys,
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you. I was nervous, so I'm glad it went well.
Once we got beyond the main cast, there was such an opportunity for us to cast really interesting characters that have beautiful moments in the film, from Judd Hirsch as Uncle Boris to Chloe East as Monica, Sammy's Jesus-loving girlfriend, to the bullies, Sam Reckner, who played Logan, and Oaks Fegley, who played Chad, to the grandparents, Robin Bartlett, and the incomparable Jeannie Berlin, and also the sisters. The casting process with Cindy Tolan was great. She helped us find people that had the essence of Steven's family members. She really hit each and every one of those parts so beautifully, and each and every character was able to really give us a memorable portrait of each of these people in Steven's life.
You hear that from everyone that has worked with Steven, how nurturing he is with young children and young people especially, but to experience that firsthand, it was amazing.
Logan, come back where you first said life's like the movies, right there.
Life's nothing like the movies, Fableman.
Great. That was some good work.
It was very comforting to take direction from him. You felt in a safe environment to be vulnerable, to show your emotions, and that's every performer, actor's dream, is to be able to feel that way.
I spoke with Steven at one point on set about how he's made a lot of films about history or about his imagination and come up with all these great things, but he's never made a film from his own life before. Fableman! So, this is a first for him.
I didn't really know exactly if this character was real, if my character Monica existed in Steven's life. Hold your breath! But the amazing hair and makeup team showed me this photo of Steven at prom with his prom date, and it's this photo of a brunette girl who looked like me. And I think that's just when I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually playing a character in Steven's life. Let's pray. I actually didn't have an in-depth conversation with Steven because I just took Monica as a character and just played her as a character. This has been so fun.
Who is that? It's Uncle Boris.
As I said to Steven just recently, thank you for parachuting me into this movie, because that's what it feels like. He's a guy who comes from nowhere. He's an ancient family member who I believe represents something frightening, or so they thought.
You were in the circus?
Mama said you were the lion tamer.
Imagine having a relative who used to be a lion tamer at the circus.
Then one night, the big cat act. He comes down with the flu bug, so it's Boris Bangoni in with the lions.
He's lying, right?
And I know that he scared my grandmother, and he scared my mom a lot because he sucked all the air out of the room. And Judd Hirsch is a showstopper. And the scene that he plays so well with the family, especially with Gabriel, it's a showstopper. But it also underscores the themes that we were trying to bring a little bit more to the surface of our story.
So you like the movies, huh, Mr. Pitzelschass?
I only met him a couple of times. I think my show business gene probably came from both my mother, who was a performer, and probably a little bit genetically from Uncle Boris.
You see, what she got in her heart is what you got, what I got. Art. This was an honor to be in a movie like this. This is one of the only movies that I could say I was in it. You will make movies, and you will do your art. Art will give you crowns in heaven and laurels on earth, but it'll tear your heart out.
Thank you so much.
In this film, he is letting you into what he sees. He is letting you into how he sees the world, which is cinematic and wondrous and joyful, and only he could do that.
I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of my heroes, and I understand why they say don't meet your heroes. He's a hero who you want to meet.
I cried so hard when it was over. They thought something was wrong with me. It was hard to say goodbye.
Okay. That was a great day. That was good. That last take. I like that. By the way, the coffee.